Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We just found out that the employee that was fired from FEMA for not helping homes that had Trump signs said that this is not an isolated incident and that FEMA workers were instructed to do this across North and South Carolina also. The employee right here, Marnie Washington, came out after she was fired because they found out that she was avoiding homes with Trump signs, says that this is happening all over FEMA. So all of our tax dollars that's going to FEMA, whether you support Trump or don't support him, people with Trump signs were actively being ignored during a time of crisis. FEMA is in trouble, and who instructed FEMA to do this? That's what some people are saying. And they're saying that Trump was actually right because he claimed that the federal response to Hurricane Helene was neglecting areas that voted Republican, and the New York Times called him fake. They said it did not happen. And now that this woman's coming out and saying that it's true, was Trump right the whole time? This was the message that was sent out to like their, I think, Facebook group chat. It said, implement the best practices. Not one goes anywhere alone, okay? Avoid homes advertising Trump. That is what they sent to the FEMA employees. Avoid homes advertising Trump. Imagine, because of who you're voting for, your house is just torn into pieces because of this hurricane and you are in desperate need of help, but you're not going to get any help because you have a Trump sign in your front yard. That is insane. Practice de-escalation and preventative measures. Communicate and follow the rules. Bring a towel with you tomorrow in the field. Frequent breaks and drink water. Avoid high salt diets and coffee. Coconut water is a fast way to replenish your electrolytes. Okay, all that's fine. But avoid homes advertising Trump signs is insane. Right here, this guy, right? FEMA has been a terrible organization for the past year with all of these hurricanes and tornadoes and everything happening. This guy posted on X that he sent his letter into FEMA. He filed the claim to get reimbursed, obviously for the food that he lost in his fridge, the generator that he had to buy when his home was impacted because of Hurricane Helene, and they denied him. He had to buy a generator. He lost all the food in his fridge, and FEMA said no. And that's on top of all the money that FEMA does not have because they've spent it other places. And this is him posting about it. This is even the receipt right here. He spent $897 to buy a generator because his home had no power. FEMA would give you everything you asked if you're an illegal. That's what some people are saying. They're saying that FEMA spent a ton of money on illegal immigrants, and they can't even reimburse this guy for his food and his generator. Reapply, don't give up. This was his second attempt. And he already got denied. They said, what was the reason? And he said, no documentation yet. I uploaded the receipt I took at Lowe's. I'll just upload it here too. Not that that matters to FEMA. So they said because he had no documentation for his food and his generator. Now, with people getting denied their money from Hurricane Helene and this FEMA employee coming out being exposed by telling people not to go to Trump sign houses, this has created a lot of people to question what happened to the FEMA money. Feds say there's no money left to respond to hurricanes after FEMA spent $1.4 billion on migrants. The Homeland Security, Mayorkas, set off outrage Wednesday when he told reporters that the FEMA Emergency Management Agency does not have the funds to help Americans through hurricane season after they spent $1.4 billion since the fall of 2022 on the migrant crisis, which has had so many people be upset because of what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have done at the border. Now Donald Trump coming in, they're hoping that this fixes literally everything with the border, gets a ton of illegal migrants out, and stops people from coming in, which then hurt the Border Patrol because now they're worried about helping these people figure out how to get in or help them at the border. And there's all of these illegal things coming across the border, which is hurting us in the long run. They said, we are meeting the immediate needs with the money that we have, but we are expecting another hurricane hitting. Now, this was back in October. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through this season. And what is imminent? So all these people that lost food in their fridge, even my parents lost all the food in their home. They lost one of their storage buildings because of the flood, because I'm from Western North Carolina. And so to hear that we have no money left for the people that actually need it, and I think as of today, there's 7 people left missing, over 107 dead, I think, but over 7, I think right at 7 missing from Hurricane Helene. and we spent $1.4 billion on illegal migrants coming in, and we don't have the money to help our own people. Now, this is the article from the FEMA worker that was accused of telling staff to skip the hurricane ravaged Trump homes. They went and did an entire interview with her. So she was fired last week and broke her silence today on an interview on YouTube, arguing she had been following the widespread FEMA policy of avoiding politically hostile homes. FEMA preaches in accordance first and then de-escalation. This is not isolated. This is a colossal event of avoidance, she said. She also said, not just in the state of Florida, you will find this across the Carolinas also. So everybody that was impacted from Hurricane Helene in Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina are all not getting help because they had Trump signs in their yard. A FEMA official backed up her claims. So this is somebody that is still currently working at FEMA. They backed up this woman's claims after she was fired, telling the Post that agency's practice of skipping Trump supporting houses or avoiding white or conservative dominated disaster zones altogether is an open secret at the agency that has been going on for years. A government agency that our tax dollars are going to is openly avoiding white or conservative dominated disaster zones. That is, if it came out that Joe Biden was actively not helping people that were white or conservative, or any president, any federal organization, they would be investigated and probably shut down immediately. But FEMA is able to discriminate against white and conservative dominated disaster zones, and it's an open secret. Congressional Republican lawmakers who stated they were on the path back-to-back storms have vowed to take swift action to determine whether the agency ended up actually doing this or not for political reasons. The woman that was fired, Washington, accused FEMA of lying after the federal agency said she had no authority to give the directive to disaster relief workers who were canvassing homes in Lake Placid, Florida. And this is what a house in Lake Placid, Florida looked like. They were holding up a Trump Vance sign, Kamala Harris, you're fired, and an American flag sign. And look at what it looks like in front of their house. And they're being told not to help these people because of who they're voting for. She said, I have heard from other entities who are serving in North Carolina that there were clear guidance saying to be mindful of the types of people who are in Western North Carolina. They're largely Republican, very conservative, very derogatory sorts of references in their culture. That is an employee from FEMA telling you that they were actively avoiding Western North Carolina, which was hit the hardest by Hurricane Helene. FEMA employees did receive threats in the wake of Hurricane Helene in Milton as a result of misinformation. It wasn't the misinformation. It was that the people that lived in Western North Carolina were helping each other more than FEMA was. I'm from there. I know people that live there. These people that live there were going up in four-wheelers, ATVs, helicopters, and helping people that were trapped. And then FEMA comes in and starts saying, no, you can't go fly your helicopter. No, you can't go directly to these people to bring aid. You have to bring it to us first, and then we'll facilitate it. And people were upset. They were saying, no, we need to go get help to these people right now. We need to go get them gas. We need to go get them insulin. We need to go get them food and water. And FEMA says, no, now that we're here, we're going to take all the supplies and then go help them. Now we just found out that FEMA was being told, do not go help people with Trump signs or white and conservative families that live in Western North Carolina. So the people that did not want FEMA taking all these things and then going to help were right. They were right that FEMA was not going to help them. They were dragging their feet. I mean, yes, employees did receive threats because of how upset people were. The article also says, however, FEMA employees are trained to deal with threats and disaster, the employee said, adding that the agency's real motive in avoiding certain areas in need is equity. The source went so far to say it's not crazy to say the agency has been instructing personnel to exclude white communities. It's not out of the question. It's not crazy that FEMA has been directed to exclude white communities from help from disasters. That is insane to even think about a government organization. They said, I'm sad for the 4 years that we have gone through the entire agency because emergency management is something that you don't just stumble into. It's something you have a passion for because you believe in the mission space across the board, and we've set ourselves back. However, FEMA coincidentally, has denied Washington's claims. She told Martin that she suspected her superiors would not be forthcoming if asked about any official policy that discriminates on political ideology. Senior leadership will lie to you and tell you that they do not know. But if you ask the disaster survivor assistance, crew leads, and specialists what they're expecting in the fields, they will tell you. FEMA is going to lie. You have to listen to the actual employees there. They are telling you that conservative white families are being discriminated against. And I don't know if this is even going to make the national news, but it should. And FEMA is going to lie to you. Demand for FEMA to give you those incident reports. They will substantiate what is happening to us in the field. FEMA is very well aware of the incidents that take place, not just with my crew, but with all crews in the states. She said, "Oh, we omitted these homes for safety precautions, not because of political play, but because you've been telling people that it is dangerous, that it is insane." As a result, the agency said FEMA will be re-canvassing the entire Lake Placid area, as well as any other areas prior to the crews covering them. But this was over a month ago now, so who cares? But this is happening in our federal government programs. This is insane. I don't know if this is going to make the mainstream news. I really hope it does. But guys, that is all I have for you today. Make sure you subscribe down below and let me know what you think about it in the comments.